All right, Diablo players, we got a bunch of awesome things to look at with the brand new announcement of the new season, the season of Witchcraft. There's actually this picture that has so much going into it. So there's actually going to be 25, so that means that there is an additional power, I believe, that we have not known about. And then on top of that, we are getting these brand new occult gems. We're getting the newer powers. And on top of that, we get the Armory, which is really nice. And we're just going to go ahead and go check out their blog post here. They also say that it's a free battle pass. Now, as far as I'm aware of, there was always the free battle pass. I know that they also have like a premium one, but does that mean we all now get the like regular version of it for free, including the things that would normally be premium? I'm not sure actually like how this is worded, because again, before we always had a free battle pass. Why is this shown off? But nonetheless, in the season journey, which should be free, everyone will get a brand new pet, so that's cool. And then also there's these enhanced whispers that have powerful rewards, and of course we're getting some new runes, and that means new rune words. So go and check out what the blog post says. So just as a heads up, what is the start date? Okay, this is important. January 21st at 10 a.m. PST is when the new season is starting. So basically next week, we have access to the new things. And I already showed you guys this picture. And if you guys want to see gameplay of any of these things, I will all link them down below. But I just want to go ahead and check out like the blog over here and kind of give you guys my like raw impressions and my thoughts on it. So as you ally with the Tree of Whispers, you're going to progress these powers. Now, to be honest, most of these things that you're doing, it's similar to what you had before. They're kind of like these little quick missions that you would like go in and you would do. Again, it's like Grim Favors. It's the bounties. There are a few newer ones where like you have to escort. They just dropped this video. I already did a reaction to it, but they kind of show it off over here. But pretty much, it seems like it's more of what we've seen before. There isn't any massive change. I'm sure there's going to be some sort of balance patches over here regarding some of these skills. They show off the Coven over here. As far as my experience, because I completed the entire thing. I leveled up from level 1 to max level in the PTR, not Paragon 300, because that takes quite a long time. But I did get to the max level, and then later they had the PTR boost because it wasn't working in the earlier stages. So on average, I would say, like, if you're a pretty decent player, you can get it done in under 5 hours to max out. Again, if you are familiar with Diablo. If you're first time, probably not going to be that fast, but it actually is a pretty fast like progression to get to max level in the game. Remember, the max level is no longer 100. We have like kind of the same thing that we've seen before, where you have these rewards. You kind of turn them in. At the very end, you can get like a spark. I'm pretty sure what the final rewards are, but you also get a bunch of like craft materials, legendaries, kind of the same stuff we've seen before. But there's also like this new form of currency to upgrade your powers. They probably show it off over here. But yeah, over here it says master the powers of witchcraft. There's one that is unknown here, and there are newer monsters, and there are new bosses with boss mechanics that you may need to learn. The reason why I'm saying you may need to learn like the boss power, like the boss mechanics, is because, like, to be honest, I actually showed off gameplay and I absolutely face rolled all of the new bosses. Like, once you're powerful enough, it is no challenge. It's not like the pit. The pit is where the real challenge kind of is. Now, they kind of mentioned this thing where like there is this different types of like magic that you have. You have the Eldritch, you have the Psyche, and the Growth and Decay. These are pretty much utilized for tags. So if you've ever played a build that says your core skills, your mastery skills, your weapon mastery skills, like they have like these little like tags, right? The problem that I had in terms of like this design, and hoping that they will adjust this for the future, just to give them some feedback as a Diablo partner, is that you have so many things on the Paragon board and the glyphs that only talk to specifically the core skills, your frost skills. Whereas these new powers, if you want them to be more than just a like a buff of like 10% extra crit damage or like damage on a certain condition, you would also need to make sure that like the damage number here is good enough to where it can lack all of the end game progression in terms of being able to upgrade your like glyphs and your like legendary nodes, because those only will buff like your core skills, your fire skills, your frost skills. So then these completely fall off. My experience with leveling, these were fantastic. These were like super OP. It's just basically face rolling content. If you get some of the powers that can just do like some dot, it's amazing how much these powers are in the very beginning. But then you get to the end game, and then there's all the lacking multipliers for this growth and decay, or Psych Eldritch right here. They talk about like these certain like, you know, destructive, because like there are some that do heal you. There's some that give you like some defensive stats, like it's like a life regen or something like life on kill. There's certain ones where like, yeah, it can apply to defenses, but pretty much I think most people are just going to go like, which one's going to give me damage or group up enemies so I can do more DPS. So I think that that's going to be kind of like the way to go with it. Maybe there are going to be some defensive ones, but I mentioned in my Diablo 4 Season 7 review, if you guys want to see that, I'll link that down below as well. But when I was talking about my review, some of the stats, like I'm talking about, you upgrade all of these, by the way, and at max level, I was getting 100 shield. Now, 100 shield is like joke. Like, we're talking, most endgame builds will be like on the very, very low end. I mean, this could change in the next season, but it was like 10 to 20k life is kind of what you were looking at. To get 100 barrier is just, it's simply not enough. I know that there are certain builds that can go way higher in HP, but it's weird because I know in previous season we would go to like 1,000,000 HP or we had 500k HP. Like, these numbers have completely changed, and some of these numbers don't even match with what the current state of the game is, even with the lower numbers in the game. So I think that these need to be maybe looked at or addressed, but pretty much you just kill stuff and then you talk to NPC and then you can get whatever upgrade that you want. You're also going to see that there are coven ranks. Looks like the spark is the final reward. Once again, I'm hoping that these are repeatable. I really like it when we are encouraged to make multiple classes, and then that way we can actually get multiple sparks, because I think this is a good way to guarantee yourself getting a spark. I mean, for some people, you only play one character. I got it. It's totally cool. But like for me, I like playing all the classes every single season, and it is a great way to guarantee without having to farm the mythic bosses, because I know for some people, you know, they don't have a bunch of friends or they don't have a Discord group that they can go to, but you could go to the Diablo Sanctuary Discord and you can farm these. I already have a mythic farming guide. You really got to join groups to really get the mythics at the end of the day. But for those of you that just enjoy solo play, hey, that's another option. I hope that that is a repeatable one over here. They talk about going over to these lost powers. It's not really anything like special, because when they showed off, like when they were kind of talking about it, it almost sounded like these like little like, oh, this is super red. No, don't even worry about it, man. You just kill monsters, you're gonna get the stuff, you're gonna get all of the upgrades. Now it's gonna take some time. It's not like you instantly get to max out. Keep in mind, when I'm saying that I maxed out, I'm talking about just getting to max level, then I can start getting my Paragon points within like 5-ish hours. Maxing out this, I don't really know what the exact time frame is, because again, on the PTR we kind of just had a boost on it, but I didn't boost my level. I manually farmed it just to kind of see how it was for progression, and it is very smooth. If you felt like Diablo was ever like kind of hard for the progression in terms of the season, it's so smooth for like leveling. It looks like they are changing some of these numbers over here. Okay, cool. We got patch notes. So now a deadly swarm enemies every. Okay, so they're nerfing this, but it does a little bit more damage. Okay, so I think what we're looking in right now, guys, is the red numbers. Okay, so I guess we're getting patch notes in this one. I wasn't really ready for that. I didn't really know what to expect here. But it looks like they're kind of buffing and nerfing it. And then at the higher ranks, they're going to be stunned. We have Abyssal Resonance. So these are the powers, basically. So for every 250 resource spent, which, I mean, heck, you can definitely play Spiritborn and go for like a bunch of resource spent, right? You can expend all with the Radikipalike, right? So you get to do a big amount of shadow damage. And then it's going to explode within 10 seconds. And it's going to increase the damage by 130, and it stacks up to 3 times. Wow. This could be a pretty cool thing. Like I said, a lot of times where it says like a core skill does more damage or something, that's where, again, some of these fall off. But maybe you can start scaling some sort of like elemental. Remember, non-physical does tend to count as shadow damage, because it's just non-physical, right? And that rank 10, it pulls in the enemy before detonating. Okay, so maybe we can make a really cool build. There's actually cool ideas if you were interested in running anything with... maybe you mix in like the Banished Lord's Talisman, and then there's also, was it Beastfall Boots with the Rogue? This could be something to consider. I like these kind of weird things. And then we have the Wave of Woe, not the Wand of Woe. That was a Diablo 3 item. But looks like this hasn't been changed, at least via the notes here. It says release Wave of Woe when damaging an enemy with your skills. It's going to deal additional shadow damage when it echoes. At rank 5, it's going to get increased damage. As it echoed, is guaranteed to echo at least 5 times, and it may strike the same target multiple times. Okay. So whenever you damage an enemy, there's no cooldown on this? Whenever, yeah. So I'm wondering... you know, there is a Jaguar skill. It's like a basic attack that actually attacks incredibly fast. Now, it just says each time you damage the enemy with your skills. So that would probably be one of the most OP ones to run it with. Now, keep in mind, I haven't tested any of these out, but like that seems like it would have some potential. So we have the Purging Touch. The Elder's effects deal increased damage against head rot, and at rank 10, you get to do more damage to all monsters. So then this applies to everything. So it's not just like conditional. Because to be honest, most of the like stuff that you're going to be doing in the open world, because that's where the new content is, it's pretty easy and you're going to like face roll it. So I mean, it's good that now it works in the pit basically. So we have Shaken Soul at Eldritch effects apply vulnerable to enemies. So maybe if you can just have free vulnerability for all builds, I think this is a really great thing. And then rank 10, damage from growth and decay will also apply vulnerable at half the duration. Okay, so again, you can just keep it up for the most part. We have Hex of Flame, so this one's getting changed. So it used to deal 10% additional fire damage each time you deal damage to the target. Again, this could be really interesting. All of these, like each time you deal damage, again, that it is a lucky hit. So you still have to have that like high lucky hit proc chance. But again, that Jaguar like basic attack attacks so many dang times when you get the upgrade for it. But it's 40% damage, and then at rank 7, it's going to explode to damage all nearby enemies when you land a crit. I mean, you could easily get I'm pretty sure you can get 100% crit on the build as well. So this has some potential, really cool stuff. And then we have Doom Orb, so it's getting another 100x damage. So Doom Orb may launch itself at distance enemies, and then at rank 5, it empowers the orb when you damage a boss. After 100, it explodes, dealing 5,000 damage. Now keep in mind, it's not going to actually have 5,000. It's going to be hopefully in the millions, billions, trillions, quadrillions, I don't know. But again, I wish they had a better like way to understand these like damage numbers in the game, because again, it should scale off of everything, but again, since it's on a core or like a frost or a weapon mastery, like then again, you're losing out on the conditions. Then we have psych powers over here. I don't know if these are like updating or like why they're mentioning just these ones, but anyways, we're life linking with up to 3 nearby enemies. The X damage you take is shared with the linked targets as physical damage. Cannot lifelink to enemy players. Okay, I was gonna say this would be so funny in hardcore if you linked it to like an enemy and you just die, and then they would also die in hardcore. That would be so funny. I actually think that makes it for funny content though, but it won't work. Anyways, at rank 15, after using a defensive macabre subterfuge, any link damage will be guaranteed critical strikes. Okay. So is this supposed to be for like thorns? That's kind of interesting. I don't know how useful that is in the real scenario, because again, thorns is simply just pretty slow unless you run like the barbarian passive that lets you do thorns damage in an AoE like around you every X second or something like that. It's one of the newer ones. Anyways, we have Hex of Shattering. Damage done by your Witchcraft affects enemies with Hex of Shattering, causing them to deal reduced damage for 5 seconds. And at rank 8, when any Hex is applied to the head run, all damage will be guaranteed critical strikes. So as long as you keep on applying some sort of condition, maybe all of the builds can eventually get 100% crit, as long as again you can have, I think you can have some of these like Hex or like debuffs as permanent auras. That's at least what I was doing before. Again, some of these, they may have updated the text and that's why they're listing them, or they're just listing all of their, I'm wondering if they're listing all of them. So these are like in each category here. I guess this video is longer than I anticipated. But anyways, Misfortune, you have a chance for their attacks to be interrupted. Doesn't work on bosses, which is like where you'd want it. But at rank 5, Aura of Misfortune increases your movement speed and slows enemies by 30%, which is good because then enemies are affected by crowd control. So if you have any other damage bonus, that's cool. And then Aura of Lament, when you first strike an enemy is afflicted with Aura of Lament, it slows and other nearby enemies for 70%. Each enemy inside Aura Lament, you gain 3 primary resource each second, and if the additional enemy dies, it's passed on to another enemy, retaining the duration that lasts X seconds. Only one enemy may be afflicted at one at a time and may only occur every 30 seconds. See, this is the last line of the tag that ruins. I mean, we tripled the stat, and I could tell you for sure, just by like someone that's been playing Diablo for a while, we're killing so many enemies that like this thing will not be able to transfer over if I have to walk or I have to climb down or grab some rope. So I think that this one, like, you know, just to give them some like, you know, feedback, they obviously noticed people didn't like this or there was no one using it, so they're like, okay, we'll just buff up the number. But that's not the problem. This is the problem here. If I was able to just keep on getting like, you know, a bunch of resource. Also, you can only have one enemy afflicted by it. Like, that's not enough. Simply just, it's just a skip. I'm going to try to make this go a little bit faster, since these, as far as I'm aware of, these are exactly the same. I'm just going to go over the ones that are getting updated, if that makes any sense, because I already went over covering the powers, just so we can get through the video a little bit faster and not go over the same stuff. So this one over here, Vengeful Spirit, looks like it's shooting out over here. So every 19 seconds it appears. It's while active, it's going to all damage taken by the spirit. And then it deals 750% damage. And then at rank 5, when its life is depleted, it rushes towards 8 enemy and deals 2,000 shadow damage. And then again, I'm just going to go over like the newer updated ones. So the Poison Frog, oh, that got a nerf. So it used to do 400% damage, and now it's 150%. So it did get an update over here. And then Soul Harvest, okay, this looks like it's the same. And then with the Hex of Whispers, dealing damage to an enemy afflicts them with the Hex of Whispers, and it's going to deal some shadow damage, and then this didn't get changed, but at rank 7, it bounces up to 6 enemies, and instead of giving you 60% fortification, it's 15, so this is a nerf from the PTR. And then these, looks like it hasn't changed. An Aura of Siphoning, so the Aura of Decay, it deals 80% instead of 50% poison damage every second. This one I think is the one I was talking about, where it's actually pretty dang good. Yeah, this is one of like the better ones in the earlier stages of the game. This one, it's like, if you ever played Righteous Fire in PoE, think of it kind of like that, but a poison Righteous Fire. Cool stuff. And then the Cycle over here, dealing any damage with your skills, has a 15% chance to grow a flower. And then when an enemy is near the flower, it deals poison damage, and if an ally is near the flower, it heals for 6% maximum life. And then the flower withers away after use. A flower may grow once every 2 instead of 5 seconds. So this would be a nice little buff where you can see a little flower. And then these are like the lost powers over here, and it looks like nothing has really changed over here. And then the True Whisper grows. Set down to track these rogue heads. Oh, just showing that you can get like ancestral ones over here, so that's good. Hopefully we can get a little bit easier access to the aspects. I really feel like they should have mentioned that when they went over their like Diablo like video. They did like this little video here, and it's also in this post, but basically, yeah, it was really hard to get your aspects last season, so hopefully season 7 will be much better. They show off the head rot, and they're probably going to show off some of the newer bosses over here. During each, you'll be able to return, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like returning Grim Favors, basically. And then this is the new monsters, and I think it's a pretty cool idea in terms of like the monsters archetype. It's like missing a head, or it's kind of like growing from the head out. It looks really cool. I want to give them some props for like the monster design. I like it. Like it fits a really cool like theme over here. The head rotten over here. So you complete bounties. Yeah, it's pretty much nothing new over here. And they're going to be talking about the gems. Let's see if any of these did get changed. Your non-unique growth and power gain 35 potency, so another 10% buff over there. With Phantom String, you get to deal, wow, a lot less overpower damage. So nerf, I guess, to Spiritborn, because that was a class that can overpower on every single attack. And then also Elder Sigil, your Agility, Corpse, Incarnate, Mastery, Weapon Master, and Wrath skills deal increased direct damage to Hex enemies. It now has Potency skill tag instead of, wait, this skill now has a Potency skill tag instead of Potency. Okay. Anyways, red text here was what we're looking for. Witching Hour. While you have 3 more Eldritch Witch powers slotted every 1 second, the next core skill you cast gains Eldritch attack. Okay, every 1 second is much better than 5, so Witching Hour, that's a buff. That was actually an item in Diablo 3, wasn't it? Cool, I love seeing some of these like names return. Vulture Talon. While you have an aura active, you get to deal damage over time up to 50% faster. That's a pretty big buff for any dot builds. Incinerate was already a pretty strong, like, little starter class, because it gave you a bunch of the stuff earlier on. And then Pointed Finger, our summons deal, oh, it's a nerf over there. We get 10% less damage. And then Moonlight Ward, each ranking your slotted unique witchcraft power, you get to get 3% damage reduction, and instead of a 1%, it's 0.5. So nerf to Moonlight Ward. I mean, that's a pretty nice stat. I'm not sure how many ranks. I think it goes to 5 or 20. I think this one goes to 5, so it's a total of 2.5 versus 5. So yeah, because the unique witchcraft power, I believe, goes to level 5, and the other ones go to level 20, as far as what I remember. And then the Dust Stone over here, each of your auras and hexes an enemy is afflicted by takes 2.5% damage instead of 4, so it's a nerf to that one. And then they're talking about the other things. Okay, so these are newer uniques, right? I think this is a newer unique. Mantle of the Mountain's Fury. So you would get 100% of the hammers. Hammer of the Ancients damage for 5 seconds after an earthquake explodes. So basically, Hoda Barb is looking good, guys. That's an insane buff. Like 100% of your damage. Now, as long as you're able to consistently pop these earthquakes, which I believe should not be that difficult, this will be probably one of the top tier builds. As far as I remember, Rob had a pretty cool build with that earthquake explode build. Let's see what else we got over here. Earthquakes deal some increased damage, and their damage is converted to fire. Now, I'm not sure. I think it always had this damage conversion, but like just more damage. So it looks like that's what they want us to play. Earthquake, Hoda Barb is going to be like flavor of the month for Barbarian. And then we have a power over here. So the value of your Lupine Ferocity consecutive critical strike damage is increased to a bunch of damage against enemies when consecutively critically striking. So pretty nice little buff of like 50x damage over there. Again, I'm just going to go over like the ones that are in the red for the updates because like I did go over a lot of these probably in another video here going over all of the uniques. Some Pansies are for the Necromancer, so you have a chance for Blood Wave to deal double damage. This is going to 35 instead of 25, so a little buff over there. We have Bone Duster's legendary aspect, so Bone Spear is guaranteed to overpower enemies within Bone Prism, and it deals increased damage to them. Okay, so it used to do critically strike, but now we have guaranteed overpower, which is pretty good. So nice little buff over there. And then we have the Rogue Assassin Stride Boots. So we're getting more to mobility and shadow imbuement. So a little buff over there. Hope we get more buffs to like the shadow clones, because that's what I was trying to build. Bitter Infection, so we have a legendary aspect that's for Rogue. Enemies affected by shadow imbuement take up to 70% increased damage. 70% of its damage every second. And then Shadow Imbue deals, wow, this is like a double buff over here. And then we also get ranks of Shadow Imbue on the boots. So maybe they really want to incorporate us to play Shadow. Maybe this could be flavor of the month. I did try like a Shadow clone build. And, I'll be honest, it wasn't Spiritborn levels, but, it was kind of fun for leveling. As far as the end game, there may be some better options. I'll have to do more testing after the update, but this is cool. Then we have a buff to the Storm Horn Unique Focus over here. So we get Ball Lightning getting another rank. Every single rank adds up. And then we also have Super Ball Lightnings are larger that deal 125. So an extra rank to Ball Lightning, and the Super Ball Lightning is getting another 25% like X damage. So again, it looks like Ball Lightning is what they want us to play over here. And then as far as Spiritborn, honestly, the Spiritborn took some major nerf, guys. It is incredibly nerfed, so don't expect the same level of power at all, and it doesn't look like they did really anything over here. Okay, so no changes. And then the Eternal updates, yeah, we've already talked about the Armory. It's cool. I like it. It's great. So yeah, you can have access to the Armory, and you can swap builds, which I think is something that is cool for players to kind of be able to try out more builds. Got to keep like the life cycle of this game going, because it is kind of a pain to swap builds for sure. And then they also have a welcome back booster. Now, it's weird because it's only on the Eternal Realm, right? The ability to instantly boost an Eternal Realm character to level 50. Okay, so wait, so do you just get... Now, if you used it, does that mean we just get more boosters here? Now, it's kind of weird. I feel like the welcome back booster should be specifically for the season, maybe in the middle of the season, for like a welcome back booster. So that way, like, you're like, okay, I played Druid, and now, in the middle of the season, the welcome back, because people, they play for a couple weeks, maybe they get bored of the season and they hop off. But I really think, and this is my feedback to Blizzard, please make the welcome back booster available for season, because maybe their friend didn't get to play at the start of the season and they feel behind. And then this would really allow them to be like, okay, well, I want to play Rogue now. I was playing either Druid, or maybe, again, I was a little bit further behind. I didn't get to play. I had work or whatever. They can come back in the middle of the season and not feel like they're super far behind, because sometimes for some video games, when people miss out on the launch, they just simply don't play because like, oh, I don't want to be behind. I'm going to be too far behind. And in reality, like a player like myself, I can get to max level in just one day. I could have pretty much, mythics by a one weekend. I can completely max out a character, have almost best in slot, with the exception of like triple, quadruple greater affix. Like one GA, one or two GA on most things, I can do it, but that's not realistic for most people. So I think it's much better that you have this setup here to allow people to play on season, because again, if I played one class and I'm kind of bored of it, if there's like, oh, you could just boost a character to max level and I'm going to give you a bunch of gear, I would do it for sure if I was more of a casual player. I think that is a real big thing that they should consider. And then they're updating some of the runes over here. So some of these got maybe some buffs and or nerfs. I don't know what the exact numbers is. There isn't any comparison. Let's see if there's anything in red. Okay, so I think, oh, these are new runes. Okay, so these are the new runes, guys. So Nagu is a legendary rune, so it's 100 offer generated. Maintain at least one active summon form for 5 seconds, gaining offering up for each up to 6 summons. So I get 600 by just having a summon. That's pretty cool. So maybe the companion summon druid is something to consider. And then we have Igni, which makes so stored offerings every 0.3 seconds. And if you cast a non-basic skill, you get to gain the stored energy up to 500 offerings. So I guess this would be more so for like ultimates, like you save up, you do a big payload. Or if you just even spam it, I mean, it's just generating that every single time, right? It doesn't have it, as long as it doesn't have an internal cooldown, you could just keep on pushing the button. Maybe it's just good, I don't know. And then we have the Runes of Invocation. This one costs 20. We have a big percent of weapon damage, and we get to do lightning bolts to strike nearby enemies, which, if you are playing a druid, this could actually activate a lot of things on the glyphs, so consider it just for that. You don't even have to, like, you know, invest in a lightning bolt damage, but there's one, like, every time you activate it, you get like some sort of damage multiplier or something. So consider that if you want to. And they actually showed off. Oh wait, hold on. Do we get like a sneak peek at the skins? Well, these are. It looks like almost like a dinosaur raptor horse, doesn't it? Let's see the rewards. So it looks like we have like a. Is that like a Medusa helm? It almost looks like a Medusa helm. I don't know what the season. I know it's Witchcraft. That's like the name of it, but it's a pretty cool looking horse. I like it. It's almost like a lizard or something like that. Let's go and continue. Let's see what the Battle Pass rewards are. And there is going to be a free cosmetic pet. His name is Dorian. It's got to have. I wonder if this has something to do with like the campaign. Let me know. Is Dorian like a character that's important in the Diablo series, or is it just some random name? I don't know. But there is Dorian, the new bird pet, and I think that this is the seasonal armor over here. So we get to at least get a first look at some of the seasonal skins here. And I would say, like I said, that's why I was thinking it's like a Medusa theme with like the snakes on the head. I like it. It looks cool. I think as far as the artwork goes, awesome. Let's see. And again, it starts off in January. The Battle Pass begins on January 21st, and it's got 90 tiers. Okay, so there's free tiers and premium tiers. I don't know why they mentioned at the top that there's like the free battle pass when it's always been free. But again, I don't know if this is different for this one. But they talk about the urn. You can boost up the existing resource for more of deck site. That's a good one for sure. But I really wish they would talk about masterworking and stuff like that. And then if you get the premium battle pass, you get the free tiers plus the other one. And then, oh, they show off some of the newer skins too. Now, as far as I'm aware of, these ones you may have to actually buy. These ones are probably not going to be free. Yeah, they show off some of the other ones. And then community guides over here. They just talked about different websites. And then tune into the live stream, which will be tomorrow. And there's going to be some sort of update. And I'll give you guys the patch notes. So if you guys don't want to watch like the stream, sometimes these are like a couple hours long. I don't know how long this one is. But I'll give you guys like the summary of that. But let me know, guys, what you thought of all of the patch notes. There was a lot to kind of cover in this one video. I didn't know how long this video was. But overall, I'm really looking forward to playing in the season. And the thing that I'm actually most excited about is to kind of test out to see if we can get some crazy broken builds. I know for some people, they're like, dude, Diablo's always broken. But I have the most fun when I see some broken build and it's like fun for a day or two. But we'll have to see what people come up with because there are a bunch of newer powers to go ahead and play. And, you know, I like that. I genuinely liked when there's stuff that's super broken in games. Even though, you know, it may get nerfed, it's fun for a while, and hopefully we can see some really cool builds emerge out of maybe making some super OP build with the piranha tornadoes, or like, I don't know, the frog can like eat people. It got like a nerf on it, but if we can make like the frog eat things and go in the tornado, it's just fun. It's a good time. So we'll have some fun with it, but let me know, guys, what class you plan to start with. And again, if you want the summary of the patch notes when it does come out, and you're new here, subscribe, turn the bell, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace out.